which is the oh God. Now, Ayomide, please don't put this in the ephemerality. The ephemerality of living through history. I got it, right? This is so bad because
So people, welcome to the Shrine Podcast, the show where we'll be providing you bands with a side of seriousness since 2019.
That's how we do.
Is that good for you?
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Let's roll.
Welcome to the show, guys. My name is Akindare. I'm your host, and with me on the show today is
Jemima. Jem for short.
Yes, Jem with the money. People should make sure you bill her. Actually, no, I've stopped saying that. People should not bill her. It will be shortening my ration. So don't bill her, please. But today we are joined by a very special guest. Okay, you should listen, calm down, grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, because I'm about to introduce a very, very special guest, the amazing Kiki Mordi. She's a living icon. I'm reading it because I've prepared very well. She's a living icon with a certified spot in the Nigerian Hall of Fame. Fight me, okay? Kiki is an Emmy-nominated journalist and filmmaker. She's also a media entrepreneur, currently building Document Women, a multimedia and multi-award-winning feminist publication. The Stack Journal, a community and resource platform documenting women in tech. Maktaba Wiki, a digital research lab using statistics and data to identify gender gaps. Uhuru Watch, a news magazine focused on how politics and governance in Africa reflects African women, and Javo Reach, a storytelling and strategy business.
God damn.
This is loaded.
God damn.
I've not even finished. She's a founding member of the Feminist Coalition, and we all know that we stand the Femco.
Femco for hashtag up Femco.
For life.
In this house, we stand Femco.
For life. And finally, she is a very, very avid Beyoncé fan. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Kiki. Welcome to the Shrine Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. This is the first time I've heard the full CV being read out like that. It's like, oh, what are you guys talking about?
Exclusive.
That's what Akindare does. Like it goes into it and it does the research. It does it's like I would say everything about this person.
Legit,
so yes,
that's true.
You know, because I'm a fan. You know,
yeah.
I've been studying Kiki since. I'm sure at some point sisters will be like, this guy.
Who is this person?
Don't too much. Calm down.
Why are they fans?
But yeah, welcome to the show, Kiki. It's our pleasure to have you. All right, let's get into check-ins.
Yeah.
Happiness number. You know how we do now.
All right, happiness number. Let's see. I'm just going to say 8. Don't ask me why.
No, first. See,
how.
How are you doing right now?
Okay, how I'm doing right now.
Happiness number.
Okay, how I'm doing right now. When I woke up, I was doing okay, right? But right now, I'm doing great.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There was an increase.
Yeah, there was an increase.
Okay. There
was an increase.
Happiness number, uncle.
8.
8.
Yeah.
Wow. Last show too, you were on 8.
Yeah.
This show.
I'm feeding my mind with good things.
Okay. I'm tapping from it. Kiki, happiness number, and how are you feeling right now?
I feel really good right now. Because I've finally been able to shut my eyes. I've been having trouble sleeping for almost almost 2 months.
Wow.
So every day that I'm able to properly sleep, I'm happy. So my happiness number is I'll say 8 too.
Okay. Love it. Love it. That's very good. Me, I'm okay. Let me not lie. I was going to be very pessimistic before, but right now I feel okay. I feel good. Let me say good, not just okay.
Just good.
But happiness number, I'll give myself a 7. I'll give myself a 7. First of all, just because I just feel like I look very fresh right now in this moment. You know what I'm saying? Just first of all,
yeah.
Right? And then I somehow I was able to finesse Kiki to come and do this.
So, he was like, yes, I did.
So, I'm on a very, very nice 7, which is a big number. for me. So okay.
Love it.
Fabulous.
Love it. You were
Thank
6 last week. I'll be last episode. So that's.
I was on a 6. Yeah, but
okay, that's one step up.
Yep.
Exactly. We thank God for small messes. All right. What do we have on? Actually, I was going to check in on how everyone's Februarys are going.
I mean, so.
Okay, that's fair. Second month of the year,
It's so. Like, we'll see. It's just.
We'll see where it goes.
It's the start of the year that is not the start of the year. Do you get what I mean? Like it's just there. It's just.
Are you one of those? My new year is starting from February. January was a test.
Yeah, January was a test. It was just, let me see what the year's got for. Even right now, it's still feeling it out because it never stable.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Okay.
So.
Okay, that's fair. Kiki, what about you?
It kind of, I didn't set out this year saying January is my test year, test month, and then my real year will start from February. But it ended up being that anyway. Because, I spent like January trying to settle back home, trying to figure out like what work looks like, because I took a short break, trying to just like sort everything out. And I wasn't giving myself any pressure. So I was just taking it like one day at a time. And it seems like I picked up speed in February. So I guess, my year also started in February as well.
Nice.
In fact, I don't even know. I'm not sure there's a difference between December 24 and like 20. It's like everything has just like, it's just carried on like in one continuous, the only difference is that like the world said is now 2025. Like, for me, so, but qualitatively speaking, I think like I feel better about the start to this year versus last year, for example. Like this time last year, I was in a very uncertain place. So, bless the Lord for messes. Okay. Fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing, Kiki. Appreciate it. Gem Game.
Yeah.
What do we have on the menu today?
Today is choco.
Wait, sorry. Before we do that,
today is packed.
Today, even
right.
Kiki is not joining us. She's on a juice pee this morning. At this time, which is fine. Okay. But today we are drinking the Freixenet. The Freixenet.
Thank God I'm not the one reading this. Oh my God.
Sauvignon Blanc. Maybe this is why Emily will use for the intro of the thing. But there you go. At that camera. Cheers, Kiki, in spirits. So that's what we are drinking today. Stick around to the end of the show. We'll give you our verdicts on it. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
What do we have on the menu?
Okay, so today we have is it Alpha segment, right?
Is it Alpha? Look at host that does not know her work. Look at her that say, is it? What do you mean? Is
so
it?
Today we're talking about we have a curiosity session, right? Which is why we have Kiki here. But off the back of that, we are talking about Beyonce's album of the year win. I'm just going to allow Kiki, wrap up into that. But
what's that point? I'll just
keep it and say, okay.
Kiki, go for it.
We're talking about Kendrick, the DEI conversation, and then the curiosity session, which is the oh God. Now, please don't put this in the ephemerality. The ephemerality of living through history. I got it, right? This is so bad because I studied English. Don't have my father hear this. Because my father will be listening to this and he'll be like, is this what I sent you to school to go and do? All your 4 years in the uni, right? And you cannot pronounce this word. Yeah.
But English is not your first language, this is the colonizer's language. So
yeah, it is. So
okay.
Ephemerality of living through history. But yes,
right.
Beyonce finally wins album of the year.
Yeah. Kiki, you want to go or should we let me before you go, let me quickly do my own Grammy reactions, right?
Okay.
That Kendrick Not Like Us moment, nuts. Doechie's performance, Janelle Monáe's performance, Beyonce's win, and what else stood out to me? That was pretty much it. Over to you, Kiki.
Right. I think it was a whole lot for me, truly. For Kendrick, I know, Kendrick, I love, Kendrick's music. I've always loved his music. But that win for me was a win for Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
It was a Drake hate It was an anti-Drake. Wait, anybody could have won that award, and as long as they were dissing Drake, it would have been good, but it would have
like
fair.
100.
I was so, because the industry, like the hip hop industry, there, I know beefs happen, right? But there is just this astute misogyny that happens. There's conversations around violence against rappers getting shot. When a male rapper gets shot, everywhere stands still. We start to have deep conversations about the Black community. But when a female rapper got shot, it was trolling.
Yeah.
Your fellow Black rapper, you decided to use that to score cheap points. Like the irony wasn't lost on me. It's like you're willing to throw one of yours under the bus. So that began, I think one person should not have just this large voice in the hip hop community to be able to disparage women, up and down. So that began that mindset for me. So I don't, I'm always, ideally I would always speak about the diplomatic way of doing things, but I'm okay with it, to be honest. No one person has the monopoly for madness. So I was actually happy about that win. I was really happy about how Beyonce changed the game. She won, the 2 awards, Album of the Year, Country Album of the Year, but she also opened up how we discuss country music. I'm an African woman, and I'm a Black woman as well, but there's very little, and I grew up enjoying country music. My dad loved country music. I even liked like country music fusion. When it started to sound like what Taylor Swift used to sing, I was a huge Taylor Swift fan. So I love country music to a point where I literally did not know anything about the history of, Black people's contribution to country music. So I think that was a huge win. Like, besides what Beyonce won, she's opened us up to Black country artists and country music's history. And I'm so excited to I can't wait. I truly hope by the time this podcast is out, I will tell you guys the good news that I got tickets to go see Beyonce, because I really want to experience Cowboy Carter.
Immediately after that win, Kiki, I knew you were going to be on that tour, because Kiki's
I have my laptop ready.
It was just Beyonce. I was like, if they say this ticket like now on a money leg,
hey, get ready to lose your arm, and because I'm coming to you guys like, please borrow me arm, please borrow me leg.
Not for real.
Really.
But that's what that meant to me.
I really liked the point you made about opening up the conversation in terms of how country music is discussed, because just like you, and again, it's one of those things that like in these days, or in the past couple of years, I find it so interesting that like you still hear stuff about like Black history either in America or somewhere. You're like, are you for real? Like that was a thing.
And as a person that loves reading, mind you, it's like I've read a lot, and there's still so much more I don't know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's nuts. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about how this Beyonce winning this album is also like living through history. Right? Because like at the end of the day, like when we grow old and like older generation coming, like it would be part of what would be mentioned like in history, right? Beyonce winning the album of the year. This was a first
album of the year.
But even the first Black woman's album of the year win since when? I think I saw
in the century.
Yes,
century.
That is history. Like that, we're literally living through history right now. We're like, Beyonce won and everything, but like it's going to go into the history books and it will be talked about. And then when we grow old, we'll be like, we lived through that time. Yeah, I was, I was 30-something-year-old when she won.
Yes,
I don't know who's 30-something-year-old with you.
Is it because I didn't mention the exact 30s? Because I didn't mention it here. That's why you're speaking. You want me to mention, please, let's not go.
I'm as old as I say I am, okay? Football is
let's not go there.
Boy math.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something else I wanted to mention was Ayra Starr being cancelled.
Yes. Well,
she was cancelled.
Tap the floor.
They said she was cancelled. I said they have to be. I mean, you have to first of all be out of your goddamn mind if you first of all think that we can start talking about Ayra Starr being cancelled.
What reason did she?
But she.
So what happened was, you've not been on this. Okay, so basically what happened was Naira Marley released some song.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was called... The title of the song is offensive, Sha. Basically, it's pussy something.
It's Naira Marley, of course.
Exactly. And then Ayra Starr did a TikTok video where she was dancing to the song. So the whole conversation has been, first of all, there's a whole bad thing.
Yeah.
And then there's now also like, femicide in Nigeria. And then, people are still criticizing Ruga for the last one that he dropped. And Ayra should know better and all of these things. So people are saying, oh, if you can cancel Naira Marley, then you should cancel Ayra Starr as well.
I see.
I think it's typical Nigerian.
There's an honest conversation to be had, especially if you position yourself as a feminist. I've even had to deal with something similar myself. But what I'll say is, I think I would like to point out the history of trying to cancel Naira Marley, like who's like the root cause, right? The first time when he started making this kinds of soapy music, I remember, like, I think there was a Zikoko Heartitude party. I think they call it Heartitude now, but I don't know if that's what they called it then. Essentially like an all-women party. Was that it? Or actually,
was it wine and
it was wine and wine, actually, not Zikoko. Still really using ourselves.
It was wine and wine.
Wine and party.
Yeah, it was
the original Femco party.
But you might be wrong. But I don't think it's wine and wine. Or it might be.
I think it's wine and wine, actually.
I think I saw it floating on the on Twitter then that like how the song came on and like everybody was like, someone turned off the music. Yeah. Right. And I know people, I quoted the tweets with that information, like, oh, somebody unplugged the speaker. And then people were giving me what's it called? TED Talk upon TED Talk, like cancel culture is bad, So that's almost a decade ago. Almost. He wasn't cancelled then. He wasn't cancelled all the times. He was offensive. He wasn't cancelled all the times. He had allegations. I guess the time people came together to cancel him was when the thing happened with Mobad. And obviously that has nothing to do with feminism, but it has everything to do with, human rights abuses. But you could see the voices that were even loudest in upholding that, people that are used to organizing and standing up for something would obviously be the same people that would apply here. So obviously the women took part. So I guess when the language around Ayra Starr cancellation pops up, like just be mindful of the voice that you're hearing, like the voice of performance or the voice of true accountability. And I genuinely would love to listen to women, because from the beginning, it's women who have been holding Naira Marley accountable. And if we haven't, like, as a community, come together to fully hold him accountable, then it's like an offshoot of what he's done. And then we find the nearest woman to scapegoat to hold her accountable for him being a problematic person. Then, I'm not on board with it. Obviously, Ayra Starr is not infallible, same way I'm not. And she obviously shouldn't have been listening to that kind of music. It could have been, not to make excuses, it could have been just it could have been a thing, like a thing where you haven't deeply thought about it and you don't have like a concept of what like your actions look like. Right. And as a pop star with that kind of huge following, you definitely should always, cross-check and balance. Quite all right. But it means that I would like to know that for me, the outtake from this would be that she's listened and she's learned. Not that she's deleted the video already.
Yeah, she's deleted it.
Platform when we did not strip.
Thank you.
Them Odumodu and all these other like violent misogynists of their platform. So absolutely.
I'm with you on that. Real. What you said.
My own take is I still don't understand why people treat celebrity like they're supposed to be like some kind of like Jesus. Like they're supposed to be some sort of
I can understand why people would treat Ayra like that. She's come out young as she is. By the way, she's young, she's very good. She's one of the first people to come out and publicly identify with feminism discourse. Everyone is so scared of that tag. Like from the era of Tiwa Savage and Yemi Alade, if you ask them about feminism, you're setting them up.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work in radio at the time as a radio presenter. I would tell like my fellow radio presenters, as much as I'm a feminist on one hand, if we're not asking the men these questions, let's not throw the women under the bus, because to be honest, they're part of the same community.
Yeah.
So I'd given up on any Nigerian pop star like having the you know, education to try to, or the bravery to speak up or align with feminism. So she has. So I can understand why people expect, you know, that level of commitment from her. And I understand why they would expect it of me as well. Because there was a time that, you know, there was a viral video of someone posting me with my friends, and Odumodu music was playing in the background. I never addressed it because I was like, you know what? I never want to address this dirty topic, because if I truly loved Odumodu, it would have been like, okay, you know what? I'm paying for my crimes, but this is someone that I absolutely despise in the first place. So it was like, okay, well, this vulnerable moment where I was celebrating with my friends, and, you know, I can't even remember like the details of what happened that day for me to come and accurately tell you exactly what happened. So I was like, you know what, I'll just charge it to people like to crucify. People like to look for scapegoats. Yeah. Because people that were crucifying me, like I said, have not crucified Odumodu. The people that are crucifying Ayra, they've not crucified this like root source of misogyny. Quite all right. We've presented ourselves as voices at varying levels in feminism. So I can understand when feminists hold me accountable. I definitely will not have it from men. Are you mad? Like, who are you talking to? are you insane? So I took it with a pinch of salt. You know what? This is my accountability. If the women say I have to do better, I definitely have to do better. I can try to give excuses from now to tomorrow, which I absolutely have like valid excuses, but the bottom line is still like many people needed to do better, myself inclusive. So I took that with a pinch of salt.
Thank you for really saying that, because like when I saw that when it happened and like you didn't respond, I was like, I would give anything to really know what she thinks right now. And how this like, because I was just like, who are you people to say, oh, this is who you should, it's the hypocrisy for me, right? That's what really gets me about like everyone. It's not like they care that much. It's just, oh, because somebody has done this, so they see that as an avenue to now come and say, we should hold you to this because you've portrayed yourself as this way, so you should stay in that standard. You should, but in your own daily life, are you even portraying or living this standard, standard that you even want to live for yourself before you can be holding somebody else to that? So it was really nice for you to hear that, like what that meant for you.
Yeah, for me, like I was saying, away from even like, like maybe people make mistakes and stuff. Like me, I just think like celebrities are just people like you. Like they are not perfect the same way nobody is perfect. Like even when that thing with you happened, like I was just like, okay, the song was playing at a party and she danced to it. Like I absolutely get what you mean when you say, Kiki, that like people holding you to a certain standard because of who you are and like what you represent as far as like being a feminist activist, or advocating for women. But at the same time, I don't think like because you're advocating for women, then that means like
you're perfect.
You have to be like, I don't understand that. Like it's I feel like it's a would I say caricature
or that moment was like they tried to use that moment as a definer for like what truly happens when it's not reflective at all.
Yeah, like so it's like, I think it's a caricature of that thing when people say, oh, you're a feminist but you got married. I'm like,
but you have a boyfriend.
But you have a boyfriend. You get, it's like niggas can be trash and women can still date men. Like it's like, what are we doing here? So yeah,
I don't even know I'm a good person. I've never come out to say I'm a good person.
Did I say exactly? Like, have I said I'm the best? I'm the best in sliced bread. I'm perfect.
So all I want is women and men should be equal. So equal dragging, equal everything. Like,
yeah. That's why now when people say I support women's wrongs,
Women's right and wrongs.
I'm about that.
Every single time.
I also do that. Women's wrongs too, because
I support it.
Like,
I know
I
it's
was not
wrong, but
joining
I support it with my chest.
You know
like,
the one that used to vex me? When they'll say, like, maybe, they appoint one woman in one token position and then maybe she steals some money, right? Or she steals. It's fine, she steals.
She embezzles.
And they'll come and say, this is why you don't put women in something. I'm like, guy, since some of us don't dare, now men don't dare.
They're not the thief.
On a no sit down and talk. This 2 women that did something, you could now use that as, like, come on, be for real.
Yeah. Let's
We're living through
history.
We're living through women's history.
Following on from, I think this is the 3rd episode in a row that we are going to be wishing our American friends all the best.
All the best.
Because you people are, God.
Like I usually say, if you want to know how it looks like, how it feels like, we have been living.
Talk to Nigeria.
Nigeria has not. I want to say we because I'm in Nigeria too, but I don't live in Nigeria right now. But Nigerians have been living through this hardship. They know what it means. So if you are looking for how to live through this Trump days and years, just connect to your Nigerian friend.
My heart goes out to you.
My heart goes out to you. Like, connect to your Nigerian friends. They will tell you what it really means. Because, bruh, Americans, they are going through it. Every day, I'm checking Trump's Twitter. It's like, I have released an executive order. I'm just like, bro, like, what?
They're doing, what? Did you see the latest one? Where like just these 25-year-olds just have access to everybody's social security.
Yes, no.
Like national security is in the hands of, and then we're looking through his past tweets. Let's not even enter his racist tweets. Let's talk about when he was asking people like which AI model, which large language model should I use to convert PDF to something.
To something. Like 25. That's who they are giving your social security.
National security inside ChatGPT.
Americans are going through it, bro.
Like businesses are like, oh, AI productivity, use ChatGPT. I'm like, how are you sure that everybody or nobody in your entire business has put sensitive company information inside?
And they should go and ask. Somebody is putting social security numbers inside ChatGPT. Americans are going through it right now, bro.
But like, it's crazy that like, I mean, I guess the world has been kind of trending towards this sort of thing for the past couple of years in terms of like just the kind of far right leaders that are getting elected all around the world. And there's this like sort of polarization. It doesn't matter what country you are in. It's just like there's just a line in the middle of everywhere, like, right? And I feel like, I forget the Rick Ross line now. I know like Rick Ross is a good example, but but I forget the line now where he said it was something along the lines of that, like, we need to get to the bottom. Like, we need to get to the absolute worst for us to really see that like this is not it, right? So like this whole Trump DEI.
Be careful what you wish for, because I used to think that of Nigerians. I was like, oh, we're getting to a point where we'll be pushed to the wall. There is no wall.
There's no wall. When they push you to the wall will move. The wall will move back.
You don't remove yourself from that situation and just, what they want. Evolution is not their strong suit.
It's not their, yeah.
They want to become extinct. Just find your way out of there. Because I don't know. The thing saving America right now is a strong system that they've built over the years. And I wonder how long that can hold.
That will stand.
Because all the goodwill, all the diplomacy there
is out.
Killing everything. Every day you wake up, you drink coffee. Trump has removed one
like every day. He's tweeting, like it's even the tweet that is getting me. Like, how is the president of a nation, the leader of a nation, or whatever it is that they call it, the best nation, great. You just come on Twitter and like the things that he says, you're like, I checked the tweet again. Like, now it's been so ridiculous. Like, I'm like, is this really?
They had known that their app would be the undoing of America. Maybe they would have just deleted their code in peace.
I'm telling you.
Because how can Twitter be the cause of the downfall of America?
It is. It's not
friends.
That's great.
He's friends with the owner of Twitter now. That one, so every time he comes and says, Donald Trump is my best friend,
In the
I love him
wild
in the
world.
wild world, like a straight man loves a straight man. I'm like, bro, who asked you?
You know, I was watching the
Who
Daily
asked
Show.
you?
I was watching the Jon Stewart on the Daily Show the other day, and he was talking about how it was basically talking about how like the Trump guys and Trump and his fans used the California fires as like, you know, they politicized it and they were like, oh, it's DEI's fault, right? And so he played clips of like the Secretary of Transport, I think, which is like the Minister of Transportation, and some other guy on Trump's team. The amount of times they said, "Thank you for your leadership, Mr. President," during that presser, like they must have been like 18 times. They are talking, and thank you for your leadership, Mr. President. I'm just like, just Kukuma go and pull his pants down and stick your face in there, because which fucking leadership are we talking about here? But more importantly, I think like I'm personally not surprised by anything that I've seen from Trump. Like he's always been the tweet raging, whatever. Right. He's always said outlandish
things. He was banned from Twitter for crying out loud.
He was banned from Twitter. The only reason why he's back is because of Elon.
Yeah, that's
right.
So like I don't know why, because
and America still went ahead and anyways, Nigerians went ahead and elected Tinubu. So who am I to talk?
I mean, Tinubu being elected, you know, we can debate that one, you know, but let's not get sidetracked.
But America, so they actually are stupid enough to put him in power, right?
No, this ones, at least we can trust their own system. So they definitely chose him. They chose that guy. Like,
well, yeah.
But sorry, before you go, Kiki, what I wanted to add was like it makes me think about how unaware the average person is of like second, third order effects. Because you know, a lot of the political discourse around how did Trump win was like, okay, inflation is kicking people's asses, you know, people often hold conflicting political beliefs, right? Somebody can be pro-gun and pro-life, which is like you know, stay one side, right? But like in the election sort of frenzy, what was really biting people was like their pockets, you know, what their prospects look like, and you know, the perception that this guy is a billionaire, right? And all these other tech billionaires are like, oh, this guy, you know, his economy, he's doing, because a lot of the black sort of celebrities that I saw supporting Trump, they were coming at it mostly from he's gonna get me paid. He's gonna get me paid. You know, he was the one that cut the stimulus checks, blah blah blah. But
so like this
what they don't know is that, see, somebody can be good for the economy and can be bad for justice. Like somebody can be good for justice and can be bad for infrastructure. You know, like, so ultimately when we are making elective choices, what we are really doing is that we are like, okay, which part of the things where this thing good for can I manage for the next 4 years?
So like this government will favor me and my
versus
family.
What is not good for?
Same thing.
Did you get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you know, nobody should be surprised that this is happening. This is exactly what he said he was going to do. This is exactly who he said. What was that proverb? They said, if some believe that this thief will steal from you when they tell you that they're a thief. Like, believe people for who they say they are.
Yeah.
You know, someone says they are selfish, believe that shit. Okay, don't be like, don't be so hard. What? I can see Pepe. But yeah, Kiki, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was agreeing with you on what you said on how he was elected. The only thing I would say regarding how he was elected, I think some people truly did not really care about the economy, and they cared about like one of my own. They cared about like some sort of tribal solidarity. It's like, oh, we've had these woke people like try to look down on us and make us look stupid, which I would agree is a fault of ours, because I join myself in. Sometimes you're too exhausted to try to explain to people why they're being ridiculous, and just call it for what it is. You're being, ridiculous. So that comes across as condescending, and a lot of people don't like that. Those types of people have been winning for a very long time. It's like eating humble pie. So people really did that to like that own the libs, that phrase. People essentially put Trump into own the libs. Some people did that. They don't give pardon my French, fuck about the economy.
No, the French is fine. This I'm sure.
At all. But yeah, that's like his core following. But then the rest, it's easy to fight, the current. It's like, oh, I've given you guys a chance. What have you done for me? Forgetting that, Trump also was in power. And I hear what you said about, being great for the economy doesn't mean being great for justice. But like, was he even that great for the economy? He wasn't very great for the economy as well, because the perception of him not being great for justice was affecting America and how other countries related with America as well. And in some areas, where the American system couldn't cushion the effect, it showed that, well, we're paying for the sins of Donald Trump. Yeah. The other areas, democracy, the system that they built over the year, cushioned the effect and they were able to survive. But that doesn't mean Donald Trump was a great president. But like many standards, he wasn't a very great president the first time.
Yeah. 100% agree.
We are living through history. Let's get into the curiosity part of this conversation, because we're just passing through time and living through history.
Okay, so Kiki, I was very, in fact, like my brain, there were sparks flying when you sent me that message. You were like, what is like living through history? I was like, Jemima, come on. And this is such an interesting concept. So like after, in developing the episode, like I went to read, I read a lot, I watched things, etc. I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me is like how history is both a record of the past, but history is also continuously happening, like in the present. Like it's so weird. The fact that like you could be living through a historical moment, but like either what's going on in your job or like in your relationship or like in your family or like on your street or like in your extended family, it's so hard for you to see beyond those things to the larger sort of macro. Is that the correct? Is macro the close on or the far? You get what I mean, Sha.
Yeah.
So like to now see that like, oh, okay, this is how this can impact other things. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that like I find causality a very interesting concept in terms of the idea of history, but also living through history, but also that dichotomy that like history is both a record of the past, but it's also like ongoing in the present as well. Because like when we started this show is technically already history, right? And like we don't know what that moment or like the first 30 something minutes of this podcast, right? We don't know what that moment in history, even though as we are still talking now, we are still committing.
But do we even know what is going to be, how is going to be history? Because like history is about like the impact afterwards, right? That's what's kind of like, so like it's continuous. It's the things.
I wouldn't say it's about the impact. So history is just what has happened, period. Now, historical moments
is about what
is about like the these outsized events or things
the outcome after the right. Because like for example, when I was reading up for this episode, one of the things I saw was that like World War II, I think, or one of the world wars basically started because some archbishop got killed, and then that then just. But at the time when he got killed, it was not.
One guy
that didn't start the war.
One guy was killed, like in isolation. Like that is what happened. Some guy was killed. However, who that guy was, in what country he was, in the time that he was,
the impact of the death,
that then supersized that event. Because people get killed all the time, right? World wars
did not.
So I guess in that moment, it's like. Maybe the guy dying in isolation is not a historical moment. It's history that's happened, but it's not a historical moment.
Fair. I hear that.
Because of who the guy is and the time,
things surrounding it.
The effect that death has on the world ultimately makes it a historical moment.
Oh, absolutely. That makes sense. When I was much, much, much younger, I always thought that when I read history and I hear that things happen, I'm like, oh my God, we're definitely not evolved at the time. I don't think our forefathers were that smart. Why would they allow this happen? You mean everybody just sat and watched this happen? Yada, yada, yada. But having lived through historic events myself, unprecedented times, not so unprecedented times.
These are unprecedented.
So the first unprecedented time.
Back to back.
Back to back. I'm like, you know what? Maybe maybe our forefathers were fighting for their lives and it didn't mean anything. Like, it wasn't moving the needle. Maybe they tried their best. Maybe, because surely I cannot even be that special. What's so special about us? Is it not just that we came from one long family tree, and it's what they thought the person that gave birth to the person that thought. I just feel like I'm now of the opinion that if you feel like you woke up one morning and you were able to see human rights abuse for what it is, and you were able to find your voice, I feel like back in the day, someone also was able to do it. The only difference is maybe they weren't able to move the needle. They weren't able to find enough people to support their cause. Because I can't believe that you just threw 100 humans in the room and 100 humans, not one dissenting opinion. I know that we have evolved for sure as humans, but I just think that our conscience, our consciousness has also evolved, but I don't know that it's that like big a difference. Like if we feel the way we feel right now, people would have felt like the same way in the past. So, and it also just brings into like, I'm just curious about how now we're tweeting through things, right? I'm just curious about how it must have been. Like when I'm reading it in books, at first, it just feels like, oh, the world has stopped and everybody around the world is attending to this one thing. But the truth is, the world doesn't stop for everybody when historic things are happening. Like, even the world war that you're talking about, that one bishop was killed or whatever, I feel like there was some section of like the palace where they continue to have breakfast in the morning, lunch in the afternoon, dinner at night. Like, or it's just they will hear occasional news and be like, oh, my heart goes out to the behind our Titan.
Can't relate.
Like, prayers up. Hashtag. What are we having for dinner? It brings into perspective, like in Nigeria too, like you see videos of people dancing in Lagos, people are fighting for their lives, in the Biafra war. And it's happening right now. Like in Nigeria, for example, people are dying. Like sometimes it takes foreigners reminding me that we're at war. So like, oh my God, I heard what happened in Nigeria. I was like, what happened?
Too many things are happening.
In the north, it's been happening. Like, can you imagine that level of desensitization happening in Congo? Like, people are dying in their droves, and these are historic events that are happening. And we went through one ourselves. Like when it happened with NSAS, when we were in the middle of it, it felt like this is the whole world, and our world had stopped. That's what it felt like to me. But life was happening, man. Life was happening outside of, my world. And the moment, like, even the people that were supporting, like my sister lives in the US, and she every time she opens her phone, she's so scared. She's like, what's going on? Like, my sister is in the middle of it. My country people, like, this is my country. I love my country. Like, she's crying almost every day. But like the moment she goes to work, people are just existing, like doing their shifts and enjoying like their lives and having lunch. So it changed my worldview. I'm just like, I wish I could, go back in time and see how
it was.
Like, they were able to deal with this, because my perspective has changed tremendously.
That's actually a good perspective, because I didn't really think about how much work people in the past would have put in, right? Considering now that like when we're now doing the work, we're not like, oh my God, this is so much work, like trying to like maybe sort of get into communities that are maybe say helping people out, for instance. And you're thinking, in the past, were there not people who are actually helping these communities out? Like, do people not do things? Or as we're living through it, then you start to realize like, actually, like you just said, like, I don't want to believe that 100 people or people were gathered and they just allowed, everything was just moving. Like they actually tried. Because we are trying and we are seeing like how sometimes it's moving, but sometimes it's not moving. Because at the end of the day, depending on like what you're focusing on or what you're trying to solve, you can say, oh, this thing that I have done is going to move or improve this situation from point A to point B. But other things, you see that it's not just moving, but you're doing and doing and pouring and pouring and pouring it in. So it makes you think, should I really like, how can I even consider what is important enough for me to sort of put my energy in to work out, or like to sort of like help out and help make history? Because like you said, the desensitization, right? Like you open your Twitter, you open your Instagram, like you're just seeing news left, right, center, this plane crash here, this, that.
People
like,
are laughing and people are dying. It's
too much.
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling you the other day, I was telling Jemima the other day about how, like, growing up, like I didn't really remember, at least in Nigeria, I couldn't remember any like 24/7 news channels. Like I know there was a news report in the morning, there was one in the afternoon, there was one in the night. If you need anything else, go and buy a newspaper, right?
Yeah.
But now we are in, like you guys have said, like the information overload is crazy. Everybody is news, everything is important all the time, which means, most things then become unimportant because people are sort of jaded, to it, right? But I also find it interesting, like in that change of how much information we have about what's going on in the rest of the world, which ultimately desensitizes us to what's going on in the rest of the world. There's also that thing of like history is, how do they say it? History is what whoever wrote it says it is, or something like that.
Yes.
Right? History is
so it might
by
not
the
be
victors.
accurate.
History is written by the victors or something.
It's likely not accurate too.
Yeah.
No, but the truth of the matter is, like, if we go into, like, for example, what we're talking about country music, right? Or like, I don't know if you've heard of the Black Wall Street, or like there's so much of Black history in the US and even in the UK that have been told by non-Black people. And every time you hear of this, they'll say, oh, it was a Black woman that calculated the math that landed people on the moon. If we had not seen Hidden Figures and all these things, right? But because the people that told the history of the moon landing conveniently omitted the one Black, the Black lady, right? So that then takes me into, like, in this information bombardment that we have now, how do we even know, like, which one is the substantial
one?
Like, how do we identify the gems, the not gem game,
the hidden germs,
the gems and the sort of innovators, the outliers, right? And that further then takes me into, like, if we cannot identify, like, the things that we should truly care about, because we have all this bombardment of information, then, like, what does that mean, like, going forward? Like, what does that mean for us going forward? If we cannot, in our own time in history, when it was happening, we could not say, okay, this is a historical moment.
Yeah.
This, or even if it's like, maybe we don't know it's a historical moment, but like this has the potential to be a historical moment. Because, like, who's telling the stories, right?
Yeah.
For example, I had a conversation about, like, archiving the internet, right? Because I used to be a journalist, like Kiki, once upon a time. And
not like Kiki.
And yes, now.
He's like, I used to be a journalist like
See,
Kiki.
you have to use any chance to find, you plug it in there, you plug it in there. So, I used to work at Pulse, Nigeria, right? In recent, I mean, like last year, I just Google my name, let's see what's up. Let's see what's the interweb saying about me, and try to, like, look for maybe some stories I remembered working on back then. And I couldn't find them on the website. So, I talk to people that I know that, like, still work there or, like, worked there recently, blah, blah, blah. And someone told me that, like, basically all of that is gone. Like, maybe they upgraded their CMS or something.
And they didn't back it up.
And at this time, Kiki, we used to do, when I joined Pulse, we used to do everybody's KPI was 20 articles per day. It's not. No, we are not going to get into the absurdity of it. But can you imagine a room of, like, 20 plus writers doing
20
on
articles?
Average? Let's never say they are doing. Let's say on average, the average number is, let's say, 12 articles per day for, like, a year.
Bruh.
And then all that is just gone, right? And that's just one website that we know of, right? Think of the rest of the internet, like your Twitter account that you cannot access again, or your blog that you made when you were in secondary school or in uni, and all these things, right? So again, all these histories that first of all, we could not even identify which one was important, which one was useful, which one was great, which one was not. And then now we might not even just have any record of them, period. Because in the early days, you would write and then take what you've written and go and type it into a computer. You go to cyber cafe and so on and so forth, right? But now they are doing everything directly onto the digital place.
Yep.
And so if they steal your phone and there's no way of recovering your notes, and so like whatever, if you've had journal for 5 years, that shit is gone. So I wonder what that does to history. That's what's fucking me up in the conversation.
Okay. Well, I know that we suffered like erasure in Nigeria, colonized countries mostly, and that was very violent. It was very deliberate. All the things that I've come to find, another thing I've come to find out as I'm grown now is that we're very humans have the innate desire to document themselves. So everybody, even if we didn't use English words, we documented ourselves. Unlike the white people led us to believe that, we're too stupid to know how to document ourselves. When we developed big cities, like huge functional cities, the only thing we didn't have was, firepower, guns. We had weapons, we had everything else to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
So in order to control that narrative, it was very important that they destroyed our own servers of information. So the only thing that survived is word of mouth. And that's why storytelling is really important to Nigerian people. So to that, when you talked about the US and the UK having their own version of history, that version of history exists in Nigeria or in Jamaica, like where I went to. I spoke to the driver that took me from the airport to my hotel room, and he was giving me history that sounds realistic, word of mouth from his parents that got it from their parents. And then the day we had tourist day, we went to some house that looked like those ancient whites. When whites were in Africa, how they built houses. Yeah. And then they played this video for us about how the collaboration between the UK and Jamaica, I was like, you can't even use the word collaboration. It was definitely colonization.
Colonization. Say collaboration.
Collaboration. If you see the way the whites watched everything and they were like, and then, the United Kingdom is important to the development of Jamaica. I was like, my alarm bells were already trained to hear colonizer speak. So, but before then, I wouldn't have had a problem with it because I learned so many things about colonizers from Nigeria. I joined Girls Guide and people that joined Boy Scouts. They learned about these violent mercenaries, criminals, and they were our heroes as we're growing up. It's like Baden Powell. I'm now learning that he used to flay people or skin people alive or kill savages for sports. And that man was who we said some level of pledge to. We're pledging to Baden Powell, the founder of whatever. So that misinformation was very deliberate. So if we've had to tackle deliberate erasure, disinformation, imagine what happens when we don't even protect, we don't have serious protection for something that's easily deletable and something that can easily cease to exist from. They say the internet is forever, but how true is that really?
Exactly. Yeah, that's not very true actually.
Because you can't find your articles no more.
Literally. And the thing is that there's a certain permanence about things that disappear from the internet that people, I guess, have not really reckoned with. If something is gone, it's gone. Unless you want to go and look for, you can't even look for the server, or I can't think of any. Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
That's just it. So,
damn.
I wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say something about to your point about how do you know what is important to sort of document or make history, right? I think that's why the work that people like Kiki, Document Women, is doing, is very important, because we've using the example of Hidden Figures, or that story about them not spotlighting the woman that actually wrote the formula, right? Now, because we have lived through that time, maybe not history, but we've read about it, then we can know that, okay, this is the type of things that we should amplify. right? Or these are the kind of stories that we should tell. Or this is what should be important for us to spotlight, because based on what we've read or what we've seen in history, these things were not being documented enough, or they were not being spotlighted enough. So that can sort of like give us a sense of knowing, okay, because these things didn't exist or were not documented, maybe this is how we should now think about documenting it. Like document women now, how they would sort of like write stories about what women are doing that people would not really want to like think about or talk about. Not because it's not making history, but because they don't think it's important enough. But people like Kiki and every other person that is doing stuff like that know that, okay, this is archiving. They know the importance, right? Because they have had to, maybe when Kiki was trying to search for something, she's like, why can't I find any information about a woman that did this? Or why can't I find? So I would, take it upon myself to actually do this. Yeah. So I guess like we need more people to also be doing things like that, like in their own little way. That's for them to be able to like, so that, because it's the power of community when it becomes like accumulated and the history is being made.
Yeah. That's why I always say everybody can write. Everybody can write.
Like you say it's a muscle, just like you train your muscle.
I wrote an essay that I published in November last year where I talk about it a lot, where like basically it's like walking or talking or taking a shit. Like everybody can do it. And I think it's important to write because it's important to capture moments. I think about writing and photography similarly, right? Whether it's a picture on your phone, you take a photograph of your camera, because if you think about it, what are the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Everything that the Bible was the modern Bible that we have today was constructed on was some scrolls that some nigga or babe in 1918, whatever, 100 BC. AD. What somebody wrote down, do you get? How do we learn about like our ancestral histories?
Yeah.
If we never found any written records of the woman in Hidden Figures, we would not know. Do you get? So, as far as like living through history, if you are someone that has hacked the act of journaling, please, first of all, come and teach me. I need that shit.
Honestly.
Write. Document, take pictures, make videos. It might not be in this moment, during your own 70, 80 years on Earth, it might not be momentous. But who knows how they'll be talking about? I know that they'll be talking about Kiki in Hall of Fame terms in 100, 150 years, I'm just hoping that I get to that level, you understand?
Like Emmy-nominated, sex for grade, like exactly, sex for grade. I didn't even mention it. History, because now like it's like story, but like history.
I actually wanted to ask you, Kiki, that question, right? Because I feel like you've been involved in some historical moments. Now, I don't know what the Emmy record is as far as Nigerians, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm one of the first people to be nominated, one of the first Nigerians to be nominated for an Emmy. That's for a Nigerian work, right? And there was also NSAS, well, not NSAS, but the Feminist Coalition.
Yeah.
Of course, there's been feminist movements, there's been, feminist communities that's existed, and I like to think of myself like fairly educated on like the Nigerian context, right? I don't think there's been any such movement in the history of the country. And I don't think there's been any such movement that's had the kind of impacts during a tumultuous time in the country's history, right?
Yeah.
So for you, like how does, like when those things are happening, right? I want to believe that. Let me tell you my theory, first of all. My theory is that like when those things are happening, you're just like with all of human history and all the great things that have ever happened, you and the people around you were just like, shit, this thing does not make sense. We need to do something about it. And you guys, through grit and whatever else, found a way to do something about it, right? Mm-hmm. But you see, Nigeria is a very special country. And first of all, I think we all agree that Nigeria is not the kind of place that they'll come and say, thank you. You're educating girls. Wow. Take
you do well.
Take a word. Take check. That is not the country that we are from.
Absolutely not.
It's a different thing when you saw something that does not make sense, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do something about this, and then when I do something about it, in different climes, the reaction to that sort of action will be different, right? So, so today we have our Mother Teresa's, our Joan of Arc, all these, people that
up there.
But given that Nigerian context, like, what was first of all? So it's a two-part question. First of all, what was it like living through that sort of moment? Okay. Assuming you consider it a historical moment, but we consider it, at least me, I'm not talking Jemima. But the second question is, given that unique Nigerian context of that, like, you're the real MVP because these people don't give a fuck. Like, adding that layer on top of it, what was that like? And is that even how you perceived it, for example?
Okay. For all events that I've been through, I think the common denominator there is I woke up one day doing the same thing I had done the previous day, but on this day it meant something more than it did, the previous day. I have, like, if you ask me about the historical moment for me, it's not the day Sex for Grades dropped. It's the day I decided I was going to drop out of university. Or that was, like, to me, that was a historical moment because that day felt like the first day of the rest of my life. And then the rest of my life led me towards Sex for Grades. So when I was at uni, the professor was, harassing me and dangling my education, this is the education, you have to endure this harassment or else you will not get this degree. And the day I decided, I was like, you know what, if this education that he's using, if it's this education he's using to dangle in front of me for me to endure a year of harassment, I would let it go. And so the day I let it go, I felt freedom. So to me, that was like a history defining moment. Step one. I guess step two was when I got a job on radio, and my first instinct was to use that platform to talk about this thing that affected me so bad that, like, shaped my whole year. And the moment I spoke about it, I didn't speak about it as my story, to be honest. I spoke about it, as an anonymous story, But the moment I spoke about it, someone felt connected to that story. She called in. She said that was her first time, even speaking about it publicly, and I changed her life. But the truth is, she legitimately changed my life because she just gave me this idea that, you know what, you have a platform now, you're in control. You never had control over your life all these years. You now have control over this one, and you can actually use it to find peace or chase peace, because it wasn't really about finding peace. It was chasing that closure, chasing peace of mind, chasing closure for a very long time. So I used the radio to do that. Like, when people say, when people use the word agenda, I had an agenda for sure. My agenda was whatever it is we're discussing, I was sneaking this conversation about women. And so that was also a history defining moment for me because that was when I started building my community. So when I ended up meeting, when the opportunity presented itself that, you have an opportunity to actually do something about this thing that you've cared for a very long time. It was, to me, the defining moment was that the community I built, like, I wouldn't have been able to do Sex for Grades without that community. I can't lie to you. From the victims that spoke to us, they refused to speak to journalists for a very long time. Plus Oyibo, plus Nigerian journalists will come, ask questions. Will you talk to us? They say no. Will you talk to us? No, nobody likes to talk about sexual harassment in Nigeria. And what are you going to do with this story? Well, put me on blast, So without that community, Sex for Grades will literally not exist today. So now you have to think back to when I started that community, how many years ago, and how we've been part of. Every day we'll come out, we'll show up for one girl that said she's been raped. Every day when Twitter is bullying, we'll show up. From 10 followers, it became 100 followers, it became 2,000. At the time, I ended up I was like at 10K followers or 15K, which is huge, for like a radio presenter. So, and it's the same thing for Femco. Like the founding members of Femco we're just a natural fit, because guess what? We've been working together for years in different capacities. I and Odu have worked together, and Dami had worked together, three of us had worked together, and Jola had worked together, and also like we've just like sometimes we're like, oh my God, see what's happening. Can we join forces and see how we can help? I'm like, oh yes, I know this person. I know somebody that can help this girl bail out of police station, but it will bring money. You know, this person will bring support. This person will bring therapists. And we've just been working together. So the day Dami and Odu decided that, you know what, let's form this official coalition, it was a natural fit. We just fit like a glove. So it looked like that day was history defining moment, but it started years ago when we started collaborating, and we just decided to continue doing what we've done. We've done it for women and girls for a very long time. Now we wanted to do it for Nigeria. We didn't have the full support of Nigeria when we were doing it for women and girls, but now that it concerned everybody, we had the full support. So that is essentially, if we just woke up that day to start, we would have been lost really, and we wouldn't have been able to like hold it down at all, and we wouldn't have been able to make the impact that we ended up making. So that's like what, when I think back to any historical event I've been in, I always see that it starts long before like the day it happens for me.
First of all, on the point about like you guys have been working together, because like I did, for people that don't know, Akindare actually interviewed 4 members of the feminist coalition back in 2020 something. Okay?
Yeah.
And so all of this is inside. I already knew this. Okay, this is exclusive for only you guys. Okay.
And me. Okay, no, I read it.
You know, I think you're being modest. I'm not going to lie, because you have like been a part of this movement for a very long time. So that's why, to be honest, anytime you reach out to any of us and you say you need something, I don't think we're not going to think twice. It's like, just when we say, it's true. When we say we've been building community, you're a very strong part of that community. We didn't have access to international platforms. You gave some of us our first like international platforms, or, you know, interviews, like opened us up to these spaces where we're meeting people, where the conversation was transcending country lines, and we're going to South Africa, you know, our voices were being heard like in other countries. So
not good. It's very good you said that, because I found my mission in life.
That was your mission.
I'm going to let me tell you. Tell me what you think about my mission in life. My mission in life is that whatever the existing idea of manliness, malehood, masculinity, whatever that current existing most popular idea is, it is fucking problematic. And my mission in life is to preach, advertise, evangelize, dismantle that idea of what popular masculinity is right now, because I think it's hella problematic. And when I say problematic, not like it's now, like it's not problematic since day. Like, and one of the things that got me in this line of thought, because obviously me, I've always been doing my thing, right?
Yeah.
Was, I don't know if you remember, there was a time when I was working at Global Citizen, and we reached out, we wanted to do a campaign on sexual and gender-based violence, and we reached out to Kiki. We're like, okay, we have, if not female influencers, then choke. We get people who call, but we need male allies in the conversation.
You will need for different.
That whole 200 million Nigeria way we be. We know FIFA.
The search was intense.
Wow.
So, what do you think? What do you think about my?
If you bring money now, they will come.
They will come. They will come.
They will become feminists overnight.
As in, so
they like to profit from when they did not sow.
So that's my life mission now, Kiki. Like, I just feel
absolutely.
Like we need.
I love it. I think more men should speak to their fellow men. I think I've had it with like men, you know, coming to say, oh, you know what? I believe in feminism, but this is how you should do it. If I give you backhand slap, what?
No, you go tell me what. No, you go tell me how to feminist. No, you go tell me how to be a feminist.
Since we've been doing this, even if we're not perfect, you're not the one that you're not perfect either. I don't believe that you have some level of intelligence that I don't have. I don't think you're more intelligent than I am, or that me and my community were not able to pull our intelligence together, debate ourselves, and course correct. Without you feeling like you need to come and be lecturer and point your opinion at us.
Said
absolutely.
It's one Nigeria. What did he even say? He said 100 successful women are dumber than one successful man. I can't remember.
Who said that again?
Ashake.
Oh, he's the one.
Yeah. Yes,
that one drunk man.
Thank you. One drunk man is more. Has more sense than 10.
I've been hoping that there's a deeper meaning to that, because I genuinely don't understand what not from a place of I don't understand what this guy is saying. I cannot comprehend what he's trying to say. I don't think the English did what it was supposed to.
Exactly.
The analogy was so terrible. I was like, you guys sure this is what he meant? That's how Nigerian stuff.
I mentioned it because you said you're not intelligent, mother. Because Shebi, we hear what they speak, how they speak. You're not on Twitter, on Spaces, or what's it, Clubhouse. Then when men are talking, I just tune off because I'm just like, bro, why are you talking like this?
Especially people that we see their tweets that present as logical. You give them the platform to express themselves, and while obviously some people are not very great at expressing themselves, but you also see that they falter. The thing that they're depending on is not there. The Google, the research that they're doing to attach to their bias is not readily available. They're not about that life. Yep. You can wake me up from sleep, eyes closed, and I would tell you what I've been doing for the past 15 years. You cannot beat that type of experience with agenda, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's why they always fall short.
My own unpopular opinion, that should be a popular opinion, is that no man should call themselves feminist.
All right.
Because there's no way you can be a feminist. You people, look at me. Listen. You don't have the shoe. No fit paying you past the person where they wear.
Right.
You understand? So people should, any man that I see carrying feminist on their chest, I they suspect on her. AKA people are like Neil Gaiman type niggas, right? We know you people. All of them.
It's someone, and it's not Nigeria. It's not just Nigeria. In fact, it's mostly an Oyibo thing, a white to be precise, a white guy thing. A lady was talking about. I follow her. She's been talking about her rape case for a very long time, and she took a picture in front of the courthouse and she tweeted about it. She said,
I saw that.
It wasn't allowed in the hearing, and then the guy quoted, "I don't think rape should be used as a photo op moment." I was like, Here we go, a man thinking again. Don't do that. That will be successful. I'm like, wait, so how much of an advocate do you think you are that you feel like this your advocacy you want to do is more important?
It's more important. You carry advocacy for your head. Overall best in advocacy.
Survivor taking back her power.
Advocacy choke.
Niggas, man.
Male allies should absolutely just continue to speak to their fellow men and amplify women's voices, not hijack. Honestly, that's where.
100 people have heard it. You heard it from Kiki, okay? Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Fix up.
When Kiki said you can wake her up from sleep and she would talk about what she's been doing the past 15 years, I was like, actually, we did just wake Kiki up from sleep to record this podcast.
You said she didn't drop. She didn't drop.
Actually, Akindare actually had to call her.
She didn't drop.
I'll be here. Just give me a few minutes. And she just came and you're looking at her speaking we actually just woke up from. So this is not she's not capping.
You know that she's about that life. Because I was genuinely concerned. I was like, if you're just waking up from sleep, we even have the strength to be thinking about living through history and all this plenty talk. But you've been amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, what's our biggest takeaway and lessons from living through history?
Living through history. My own is, I think my biggest takeaway is about two things. So number one, from what Kiki said. So before I used to think about it from like this is a defining moment, right? Like, this thing that is happening is the history, but it's really about like what's happened before that led to that moment, right? So thinking about defining moment as like stepping stone to the big moment, right? Because at the end of the day, what the outcome will be, you might not really know what the outcome will be at the end of the day, but like when that moment happens, it sort of like creates the foundation for you to be able to like get to that point where you can make history. And then the second thing is about community, like surrounding yourself with people who have the same shared goals so that you can make the impact that you want to make. Because like Kiki said, like it's not about, her doing it alone and like all of these things and feminist coalition, we just came together and then bam, we launched this thing. It's a group of women who had shared ideas, shared goals, and have been working in different capacities, like just pulling their resources together and then making something big. Again, it's about the power of like being together, right? Because together you can do a lot more than when you're doing it alone, right?
And that's also what she was saying about like what you both said about like 100 years ago. Like we don't want to believe like back then,
like people did not,
and there was no dissenting voice, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, that critical mass that you hit that gets you to the point where things actually able to effect change or like impact things is as a result of
that. Then I wrote something down here when we're talking. It's like, what is wrong with this guy? Like terrible things exist everywhere, but it is the decision to be involved instead of like witnessing those who are experiencing the terrible things that should define us when we're thinking about making history or living through history. So those are my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you very much. My thoughts are right things is always, again, just like you've alluded to Kiki's point earlier, when you are doing the things, when the defining moments are happening, it does not feel like you're making history or you're creating history, right? But those defining moments are what's going to set you up for the historical moment down the line, right? So write stuff, document stuff. My belief of why we are all alive and doing this fucking life thing, even though we did not ask for it, is because whether it's the universe, there's a God, whatever the cosmic forces are, they've put every single one of us here for one purpose, and that is to leave this rock better than we met it. Right? Whether that's in your family, whether that's on your street, in your work, at your school, with a friend, whatever. All of us, our purpose here is to leave this place better than we met it. And the way you can do that is document your life, document your fears, your worries, your dreams, your ambitions, write stuff down, take pictures, because people in the future
they're going to need it.
They are going to find it useful. They are going to find it useful. Okay, somebody maybe is in 1,000 years, maybe is whatever time, but you never know. You never know. Okay, the things you are curious about today could be.
He says some people's purpose, everybody's purpose is to live this life better. So that's not some people's purpose in life.
No, that's what I believe our purpose. Some people believe that their violence is their purpose is violence.
But the devil sent them all.
The devil sent them.
They want to scatter this rock. I might not believe in God, but I believe in the devil. The devil is real.
The devil exists, bro. We see them every day.
Okay, Kiki.
To your point on documenting, I'm always talking about documenting women. I'm always there. But honestly, I think we should also be very intentional about, discerning when history is happening and documenting that from a POV of even when you're on the sidelines. For example, all the moments that they asked me at the BBC, the producers asked if I had videos or pictures to share. I realized that I didn't have anything. Like I was going through it, and when I'm going through it, I I don't remember to document. So I didn't have like any picture or video to share with them that would have been good for, the conversation. But at least I still had my voice. So that was useful. Same thing with the NSAS protest. I went back to my phone because it was an anniversary, one of the anniversaries. I was feeling very emotional. I wanted to go back and like make a Twitter thread. I did not see any picture or video. The one that people have of me on another person took it. I don't know who took it. Like when journalists say, we want to feature this, we really love this picture, want to feature it. Who is the photographer? Can I get credits? I genuinely don't know. So I'm like grateful for all the people that documented everything in that time. But if you check my phone, I just have one selfie with my friend Stephanie. And I hold that selfie so dearly because that was the day that I left my house. Like, let me quickly get to one of the protests close to me, Keja, and then take pictures and come back home. And I didn't go back home for like weeks after that because, I heard that like it wasn't safe for me to go back home anymore. So I didn't pack anything. I just had like shorts and a t-shirt and my phone and my camera on my neck. And that was how I left my house and I didn't come back again. And just all I have is just the selfie that we took, the calm before the storm. So shout out to the other photographers that were, all the pictures I have on my SD card are of other people, obviously. And then all the pictures of me were taken by other people. So yeah, it's still, community effort. Document even when you're on the sidelines, even when like you feel like this is the only thing I have to offer is actually very important.
Yeah. NSAS, that was really a defining moment too. Now, what history did you live through? I lived through COVID. I lived through NSAS. What else?
I lived through Buhari and Tinubu.
Historical events.
All the presidents, I lived through Abacha, my G.
Obasanjo.
Fucking hell.
We've seen something, millennials, brah.
Like,
it's trauma. We should be trauma bonding.
Maybe that's why we don't think about history. We don't think about history
because the trauma choke.
Don't worry, another history is coming in front.
It's coming in front.
When Tinubu brings his son and puts him in power,
that should be another defining moment.
In the UK, when everybody, because people are turning left, Donald Trump is inspiring them.
Yeah.
Let's go learn.
We'll learn, exactly. Everybody will learn their own lesson, to be honest.
Yeah,
let's go into Step Up real quick. So Step Up is our recommendation segments for those of you that don't know. If you don't know, I don't know what you're doing with your life. What picks up? Come on. Okay, my recommendations this week is I have no listen or music recommendations because I just could not get around.
Wow, that's weird.
I know. Music is my thing, but nobody's perfect. Okay, as we
have said on this show,
nobody's perfect. But my watch recommendation is Doechii and Janelle Monáe's Grammy performance.
You really like that Doechii's performance?
I've been telling you all about Doechii singing. I've been putting you all on. Like on that Grammy night, I belong to a group on WhatsApp called Curiosity and Discontents, set up by Fuad. You know Fuad, of course.
Yes.
And that Grammy night, people came, they were tagging Nana that like Doechii won Grammy. I should say even Nana said I should say I know Doechii before.
Now you tell me about Doechii. I didn't know who Doechii was. I never knew.
No, Doechii for real. Doechii's dope. And Janelle Monáe's it was a Quincy Jones tribute, but it was also a Michael Jackson thing. It was she killed it. My tech recommendation is the Blackmagic camera app for iOS. All my people that you have dreams of making films, creating content, whatever. This thing is very powerful. Very, very powerful. Download Blackmagic camera app for iOS. And Blackmagic, the company, also makes actual cameras. So they know what they are doing. Okay? Check that out. And those are my recommendations. I don't have anything for you to read. Over to you.
Recommendation, only one.
You want to let Kiki go first?
Okay, let Kiki go. We only have only one. And you abuse me.
For song recommendations, I want to say go and listen to Cowboy Carter. But you know what would be so good if you go back to Beyonce's earlier discography and just follow the timeline, which is what I've been doing. I was like, let me go and listen to Cowboy Carter. But I just went back. I was like, see B-Day, see See, I mean, Renaissance, we're not touching
Renaissance.
Renaissance. Renaissance is my holy grail. We'll go from the beginning. Hear her like top herself and land in Cowboy Carter. You would love it a little bit more, please. I know it's a big ask as a non-Beyonce fan. Try and do it. Try.
No, actually, like you might
Actually, I will do that as well.
Yes,
because
try it.
while I wouldn't call myself a Beyonce fan, I still think that it is absolutely ridiculous that anybody can say something about her performance, her vocal range. That you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know what you're talking
From
about.
a purely education point of view, just try and listen to it for education. Honestly, it would change your life, I would say.
I'm on it.
For tech recommendation, and I'm so scared of making this recommendation because I don't like how people use AI. But there is an app I just got on Cloud. There's so many things you can do with it, and I think I encourage people to be more creative. Like, let AI do. Just leave the work that humans can do to AI. Don't depend on AI to do the thinking work. You do the thinking yourself, and then let AI help you wherever you're stuck and where it can help you. So if there is one app or one to go, that would be my recommendation.
Close.
And then for film, the one that I'm loving right now, I guess, is a series on Apple TV, Severance. That's my recommendation.
You recommended it last episode, right?
Chopping digital not cool. See, real recognize real. That's what I'm saying.
You put me onto it, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Severance is legit.
Yeah, that's
Legit.
recommendation.
Okay. You guys.
But would you do that? Like, would you, if you could, would you sever your?
Absolutely not. Honestly, like, I mean, so I'm a woman, number one. I can't offer my body up to someone without knowing what's going on.
What they're doing.
First of all, but after watching it, it's extra cruel because it's like abusing a child part of you. Like, those people were born the day they resumed office. So it's like they have the experiences of a 2-year-old or after 2 years of work.
Yeah.
So that it just makes it extra sad. There's so that's another episode. If we talk about
let me not spoil it for because the recommendation.
There's a lot of consent issues because you did not consent. Like, a part of you did not consent to this. So
we'll pencil that in for maybe we'll not make it an actual episode. We'll make it a offline stuff. Okay, those are Kiki's recommendations. Check out Severance, listen to Beyonce's discography, and check out Claude. That's CLAUDE. I know this because they were talking about it in my group. So
okay.
Over to you, Jemima.
Just one recommendation. One. Dubai Blanc.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys, I know that Montoya for Favor has been taking over, but you see, Dubai Blanc is something else.
No, reality show. That's my shit. So if you're into that, Dubai Blanc, go and watch it. Season 1, 2, 3.
I like seeing excerpts of reality TV show, but to sit down and watch from the beginning, you want to kill me. My ADHD will not agree.
No, it's just so messy. Like, you know that what you're watching, like, for me, it's like, what I'm watching doesn't make sense. Like, I know what I'm watching does not make sense, right? But like, I have to see it to the end. Like this messiness, I will be there and I must be there no matter. I must be there no matter what. But that's my only recommendation.
Okay.
Dubai Blanc.
Thank you very much for your recommendation, Jemima. You guys go check out Dubai Blanc.
Ibrahim
is a fucker.
Is it a Nigerian show?
No. It's
okay.
Dubai.
Yeah, so they are Dubai based.
I've heard of. I know it, but I don't know whether I couldn't remember if it was.
Yeah, Dubai big women and men spending money. I watch it because I'm living life through them. You know, somebody is buying a Lamborghini and everything. They say, can I choose between the G-Wagon and the Lamborghini? How nice
Kiki,
it would be for me to choose.
Somebody's husband was complaining that they have a Lamborghini that they don't use, that they should get rid of
They should
it.
get rid of it.
This woman did a funeral for the Lamborghini. She called her friends.
She called her friends.
They wore black.
I'm like, wouldn't it be nice? Like,
I'm in the wrong industry. What did they
I'm
do?
telling you, some people's profession is housewife. Like that's what she does, housewife. Just living. But yeah,
I can relate to her because me too. I want to be a house husband at some point in time. I want to be a balala.
Yeah, I want to be paid to be a baby girl. Unfortunately,
I want to be a boss.
no, you can't get to that. You can't get to that point anymore, Kiki. That ship has sailed.
I don't mean housewife. I mean just
I know what you like baby girl.
Funded by the government to be a baby girl. It's like we deserve to be a baby girl, so we'll drop millions in your account every month. But
that would be nice, actually.
I will sign that petition.
The problem with being liberal is, like someone said, you don't have friends that own boats.
Exactly.
True. Oh my
We're
God.
all just poor.
Jesus,
Like,
that is so true.
the only thing we have is morals.
True. We don't have the morals.
Morality bonding, moral bonding.
Yeah, you know what? I've been coming across. When people try to like, what's that word? Like when they try to contextualize numbers. Mm-hmm. So I've been coming across a lot. Maybe it's the algorithm, but I'm coming across a lot of videos where people are trying to contextualize like money, right? Like numbers. So I saw one the other day that Kiki, if from the day you were born, you were spending $34,250 every day from the day you were born, you will reach 80 years old before you spend $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about that is just like
32 every day.
For you to get that kind of money, there's some mago.
Like pick they clean, Abby.
You have to do some kind
Even
of.
if there is no mago, there is hoarding, which is wrong.
Which is also
why are
mago.
you holding on to the whole money? And your community is suffering.
What 300? Nobody's supposed worth past 100 billion for this life.
Why
Even 100 billion?
Not 100 billion.
Like even 100 billion, I'm being generous.
Elon Musk.
It's ridiculous.
Then trillion. Why not inventing
Well, you don't
numbers?
need that money. What do you need all of that money for?
Nobody needs
You
that
can't
much
spend
money.
it.
Nobody needs that much
So
money.
pay tax. Pay your tax. It's true now. You say you cannot pay tax that is not cash. It's liquid. But when you wanted to buy
borrow money. They want to collect money from bank. Is that a liquid asset you use to borrow money that you're not paying tax on? They know what they are doing.
They know what they're doing. True.
All right. We have a village square segment, but we are just going to skip that because I feel like Jesus Christ.
We have taken Kiki's time.
Yes.
But the conversation has been so interesting. I've learned so much. Thank you for gracing the show and joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kiki.
Yeah.
You are officially a friend/family of the Shrine Podcast.
Yay.
From this day onward. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and with your time. Look, Kiki, let me just come.
Like Kiki, did your head morning, afternoon, night.
Let me just come out to you in case this leaks in the future.
Because you know it will leak.
Because so we have a running joke. It was something that happened to you, and we get it. That's why it's kind of a joke to us, right?
Okay.
But it's the whole. In this moment, I cannot even remember what actually happened, but I just know that what came out of it was Kiki Mordi no go fuck. And let me tell you, I'm with that mission because, like, what do you mean? As in, explain it to me. Like, make it make sense.
I know what. Should I say it?
I promise you, I cannot remember what even happened. But from that phrase,
Nobody knows what happened except me.
I know what happened. Should I say it?
You know what happened, Kiki?
You can say
How the
Kiki said she's the only one that knows what happened.
how
the comment came about.
Well, yeah, you know how the comment came about. But what happened was there was a popular porn account on Twitter.
Yes, that she was liking.
And people were like, no, relax.
No.
People were like, click and see how many of your followers are following because it was so popular. So everybody was clicking. So I clicked to go and look for my followers. But instead of looking for my followers, I got sidetracked. I was like, okay. Let me see what they have going on here. Because it wasn't porn per se. It was erotic pictures. Or was it? I think it was porn, to be honest. But anyways, I was like, that was when we still used to see likes. Shout out to Elon Musk. What were you doing? I hit like. I think I also hit follow because I'm greedy. So other people went to check and they were seeing me. They were like, no big bad news with this. What is our journalist doing here?
Oh my God.
So, yeah. Wow. And then someone came to my defense with like, Kiki Mordi look for
so ever since then, like it's something that is running.
It could just be anything, and this guy would just say, Kiki Mordi don't come. Like, wait to be the correlation now for this.
Like, what's the correlation? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Kiki, you have the floor. Where the one that you want them to find, the one you don't want them to find, don't worry, it's fine.
Anywhere, like, to be honest, I no longer have control. If you search Kiki Mordi, anywhere you see me, it's like that. The one you see padlock on top, mind your business. But yeah, definitely working on all you listed so many things, to be honest. Like, I have focuses from time to time. I think my current focus is building the tech community. I don't want Nigerian girls and women to be left out of the tech conversation. And while I might not be a tech expert, I'm a documentation expert. I am a journalist, and I know exactly how community saved me. So I'm just trying to help them, get them to that point where they're able to have like solid. I just know that like from the past 10 years, my friends that we started this life together, they're now founders. They're now, I was able to network horizontally, and like I have so many like big friends now, and I want that for them because the same people that they are starting their tech journey with in 10 years, will be building unicorns, and I need them to plug in right now and be there for each other, in the future. So that's like what I am, focusing on the most right now. So yeah, please support us. We're the Stack Journal. Read our articles, share with your friends, share with, your community, your network, etc.
That's the Stack Journal everywhere.
Let me say something about that. Let me tell you a story. You probably don't know this, but I'll tell you. Right? Story. So I'm currently in UK, like, obviously. Or maybe you don't know, but I'm in the UK. For the purpose of people listening to this podcast, I'm in the UK, but I came in to the UK through Tech Nation.
Humble brag.
Oh, yeah. Right, Global Talent. And in putting up, because if you know the way Tech Nation work, or maybe you don't take Global Talent, I think I should do an episode on how that thing works sometime. But so you have to kind of like present yourself as the best thing since sliced bread to the
because
UK.
You're an exceptional talent.
Yeah, because I'm an exceptional talent like that, right? But this story is important because one of the things that I had to like put together for me to be able to say I am who I am is my feature on the Stack Journal. So sometime in 20, I knew you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sometime in, I think it was Toby Afolabi. Yeah. Such a lovely girl.
He's also a friend of the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, she's been on the podcast, the previous episode. So she did like a spotlight, like a feature and everything, and it was part of the things that I put together for me to be able to get this. So it's important work.
He was not paid, though. He was not paid, though.
No. He wasn't paid. Like she just reached out to me
before, actually.
Yeah. She just reached out and, put like a spotlight and, I put it together and they were like, oh, okay. If these people say you're who you are and they're featuring you and then, they gave me.
Look at that.
So like, I'm happy to also like, be supporting whatever capacity, like even just whatever features, stories, anything really, because for tech is a bit, there's the technical side and there's a non-technical side, which is where I work. So, which is why it's important because like, I don't work in the technical part. I work in the marketing and the corporate comms part of tech, right? But like, I'm still in tech and it's still important, and people also need to still know that, right?
Yeah.
And through the feature with Stack Journal, I was able to like tell the story and also show them that, okay, I'm, the best, or part of like working in tech as a
let me use that one as my dinner. My belly's full. I love it.
So like important work, right? Important work.
I think one of
important
Stack
work you're doing.
Journal's main focuses is non-technical roles in tech.
Yeah.
I think
because
I see a lot of
We want to simplify the whole jargon. You know how boys are when they get into tech. Before you know it, they start abbreviating, using jargons, and people will just be looking in awe, like young girls, like, are you sure I know this thing? It's nothing. They're not saying anything that is that deep that you cannot also learn. I guess that's what. I spoke to a friend of mine, Awazi, who is also in tech as well. She broke down that part for me where she sees how a lot of young women feel lost, and she knows these guys. These are her guys. They are niggas. These niggas. They don't that you cannot learn
100%. 100%. And they don't even be talking about anything like out of the world. Like I sit with them all the time.
The regular shit.
ABC.
Everything is lies. It's just like do the work, focus on it, and you put yourself, like put your skills to use and just get the work done. It's beyond like all of that jargon. So really important work. Please continue to do that. It's very important. Like we need more. We are the only ones that will help ourselves. They will not help us.
Also, continue doing the work, Kiki, but also Kiki rest.
I will try.
Kiki, you know you
I will try.
You know you kids.
Well, if I tell you that my body is in a different time zone, only God knows what time zone it is in. I'm coming from America, so for a long time I wasn't sleeping the right time. But then I've shifted away from American time zone, but I've not quite landed here. So I'm somewhere in Japan or God knows where. But I'll try it as much as possible to rest, for sure.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you so much once again for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And, hopefully we'll get to do other things going forward in the future. So you guys, please go check out the Stack Journal and check out, I didn't tell you, check out everything Kiki is doing, but right now she's focused on the Stack Journal. So check out the Stack Journal. They're on LinkedIn, Instagram,
Twitter, Instagram,
website, everywhere.
Subscribe to the newsletter.
Everywhere. Okay, all right. So what's the name again? Freixenet.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Freixenet. Sauvignon Blanc. Unlike 19 Crimes that Jemima had on the last show that had like the whole Bible written on it. This one is much more. I like the design of the bottle. Very cute, very slick. Took very, very difficult to open for some reason though. Their packaging.
Akindare almost broke the corkscrew. He tried to open this one.
They wrestle with principalities and powers. I don't understand. But okay, Freixenet. I'll give it a 7.5. It's it's a Sauvignon Blanc. It's chill. Nothing dramatic. It won't move your mountains, but it's okay. What about you?
8.
Fabulous. Why is it that?
I love Sauvignon Blanc. It's always
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
I'm
not French.
Neither am I. But I have to teach you how to pronounce something
but
French. You can listen to other episodes of The Shrine Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Search The Shrine Podcast. If you see this thing, not fake. Okay?
Any other Destroy podcast is a counterfeit.
This is the only I
think it's only this one though.
Okay. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, okay. Also follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at theshrine.pod. On Twitter, we are at theshrinepod. On TikTok, the social media now. TikTok we are the Shrine Podcast. If you have any feedback or you have questions, opinions, or anything you want us to help you with, send us an email at theshrinepodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's been it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kiki.
Till next time, people.
Adios.
Peace out.